Okay, today we're going to be using what we know about proportions and solving questions that have to do with percents. So we know how to set up and solve a proportion, but if we're doing percents, our proportion on the left side, so this fraction, is going to be part of something or the word is over the total of something or the word of. So those are kind of keywords to look for. And it's always your percent over 100 on the right side every time. So the first question, what percent of 65 is 13? So when we're looking for the keywords is and of, they will not be for the story problems. It's just for these first 6 questions. And you always want to look at the word in front of the number. So it says of 65. According to this, my of goes on bottom. It's alphabetical because I comes before O in the alphabet. So we're going to put the of on the bottom. Is 13, so 13 goes there. I don't know the percent, that's what I'm trying to find, and 100 will always go on the bottom right. So once you have this set up, cross multiply and divide. So 13 times 100 is 1300. Divide it by 65 to get 20. And they ask for a percent, so 20%. Number 2, very similar. So we're going to start setting up a proportion. 100 always goes on the bottom right. It says 4 is, so it's going to go where the is goes, and then of 50, so that goes on the bottom. So I don't know that number. So cross multiply, 4 times 100 is 400. Divided by 50 is going to give me 8. And again, they asked what percent, so 8%. Number 3, start setting up the proportion. 100 goes in the bottom right. This time it says is 35%, but the percent is going to trump the is. It's going to be more important. So it's 35% goes here. So you always put the percent over 100. And then of 22, so it's going to go where the of goes, so we don't know the is. So we're going to cross multiply. 22 times 35 is 770, divided by 100 to get 7.7. They're not asking for a percent, just a number, so I'm done. Number 4, set up the proportion. 100 in the bottom right. This is 14%, so I'm going to put that over 100. Of 81, don't know the is. Cross multiply, 81 times 14 is 1,134. Divided by 100 is going to give us 11.34. My directions, though, say round to the nearest tenth. So 11.34 round to the nearest tenth is 11.3. Number 5, start setting up the proportion. 100 in the bottom right. It says 13 is, so it's going to go in the is part. 25%, so we don't know the of. Cross multiply, 13 times 100 is 1300. Divided by 25 is 52. Number 6, set the proportion. 100 in the bottom right. It says 33 is, so that's going to go in the is part. 50% goes in the percent part. Don't know the of. So cross multiply. 33 times 100 is 3300. Divided by 50 is going to give me 66. Okay, so anytime you just have problems like those and they're not story problems, just use is over of equals percent over 100. The next 4 questions are story problems. So as story problems, you want to think more of the part over total. So the first question, Holly has $3 in a wallet. If this is 10% of her monthly allowance, what is her monthly allowance? So we need to figure out, is 3 part of the total or is it the total? I would say this is part of the total because we're going to figure out her monthly allowance and the $3 is just part of her allowance. So set up the proportion. 100 always in the bottom right, 10%, so that goes over 100. So since 3 is just part of the total, that's going to go on top. And I don't know the total allowance that she makes. Cross multiply to get 300 divided by 10 is 30. So her monthly allowance would be $30. You also want to make your answer make sure that your answer makes sense. If you put 3 at the bottom, you get a smaller number for the top. She's not going to make less than what's already in her wallet, since that's only part of what she made. Okay, next, of the 125 guests invited to a wedding, 104 attended. We will know what percent of the invited guests attended the wedding. So set the proportion, $100 in the bottom right. We don't know the percent, that's what we're trying to figure out. So we need to figure out which number is the total and which number is just part of the total. So first of all, I said of, so that was my first clue. And then this number is bigger, so I know 125 is the total guests invited. 104 is just part of the total. So I'm going to put 104 on top, 125 on the bottom. Cross multiply to get 104 times 100, so 10,400 divided by 125. And that's going to give me about 83.2. And it asks what percent, so 83.2%. Part C, the memory card on Addie's digital camera can hold about 430 pictures. Addie used 18% of the memory card while taking pictures at a family reunion. About how many pictures did she take at the family reunion and round to the nearest whole number? So set the proportion, 100 always in the bottom right. I know the percent is 18, so that's going over 100. So I just need to figure out, is 430 the total pictures that she could took, or is it part of the pictures that she did take? I say this is the total. The camera can't hold any more than that. And we're figuring out what part of that did she take. So we don't know the part, we know the total is 430. Cross multiply, 430 times 18 is going to give me 7,740. Divided by 100 is going to get me 77.4. But it doesn't make sense to have 0.4 of a picture, which is why I said round to the nearest whole number. So that would be about 77. The last one, part D, a store sells a certain brand of lawnmowers for $275. Next year, the cost of the lawnmower will increase by 8%. I want to know how much will the lawnmower increase by next year. So set the proportion. 100 always goes here. I know 8% goes there. So I need to figure out, is 275 the total or is it just part of it? I would say that this is the total because only part of it is going to increase. We don't know what part increased. So I don't know that. This is 275. So cross multiply. 275 times 8 is 2,200 divided by 100 to get 22. And then I need to figure out what's my label. We're talking about how much will the lawnmower increase by. So it's going to increase by $22. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oops.